Okay, this is one of my favorite things because in a way, tax deferment is not exactly directly real estate investing, although very, very much related, right? So here's the thing. A lot of you guys, when they come to us, actually not a lot of coming and say, hey, I need the tax deferment mechanism. That's not usually the case, but it is, I know it is of a concern to people maybe down the line. Let's kind of break it into what can be done. There's probably two things that can be done. Yeah, probably more, but let's just focus on two. So first one is very common, is that you come to us and you buy a property, and then 5, 7, 10 years later, that property or properties, hopefully, probably, appreciate. They did well, right? You bought it for 200, now it's worth 450,000. You start paying, down the mortgage principal. You have, I don't know, $300,000 worth of equity, right? Now the property is probably not performing to the best possibility of what it's worth. Maybe it's still rented for $2,700, but you have $300,000 worth of equity for $450,000 property, right? Could be less, could be more, you get the point. So you want to sell, but if you sell it, you will meet the tax consequences of selling it unless you do a mechanism that's called 1031 exchange, right? 1031 exchange, simply put, you sell one property, let's say the one in this example, and you are shifting or moving the funds to 1 or 2 or even 3 other properties. There's different ways how to go about it. IRS code 1031, that's the name, 1031 exchange. Completely legal. We've done many of those 1031 exchanges, even complicated ones and big ones as well, from people who are selling their California properties for $3.5 million, and they're buying 7, 8, maybe more. We had one guy who actually bought 11 houses in this exchange. I have someone who's talking to me about selling their $13 million home in California and they want to do an exchange. Well, all those are very much doable if you plan in advance how to navigate this. Not complicated, but very time sensitive. So one option, how to defer taxes, is using the 1031 exchange tax deferment. There is another way to navigate taxes, right? And that's if you have multiple properties, you may be able to qualify for what's called a real estate professional, right? So if you are able to qualify for something called real estate professional, again, something legal that the IRS recognizes. However, you don't have to, gotta understand, you don't have to have actually a real estate license. You could, but you don't have to be a realtor. But if you become a real estate professional, you may be able to offset some of the passive losses that real estate can generate against an ordinary income, of the household, right? So it's a little bit more complicated, right? Not super complicated, but there's always details. But I just wanted to tell you there is another mechanism called real estate professional, and even there is a way to accelerate the real estate professional passive losses. I know it sounds like a lot of real estate jargon I'm throwing at you. There are mechanisms out there that will enable you to use the real estate, in better term, leverage your own portfolio, not mortgage leverage, but leverage the existing of your portfolio in your life towards or against or to offset your income from your job or maybe something else, right? So keep in mind, if this is what's important for you, or this is the one thing that you're more concerned about, there are mechanisms, there is more, but those are very two common mechanisms that we see, not a lot, but some of our investors doing it on a regular basis, exploiting it in a good way.